I thought I picked the perfect cabin for my Alaska cruise. I did the research, compared the options, and I even paid extra to make sure I got the one I thought would give me the best experience. And then Alaska taught me something I wasn't expecting. Because the cabin that looks perfect on a deck plan isn't always the cabin that's perfect for the way you actually want to experience Alaska. And that's a lesson I learned the hard way. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Evan from Family at Sea. If this is your first time watching my channel, I'm glad you're here. And if you've been here a while, you already know how much I appreciate you. If you're ready, I am. Let's go. Before we start talking about cabin types, deck locations, or which side of the ship to choose, there's an important question you need to answer first. What kind of Alaska cruiser are you? Maybe you're the kind of person who dreams about sitting on your balcony with a cup of coffee while glaciers and whales drift past. Or maybe you're the type who's going to spend every scenic cruising day out on deck chasing the best views. Or maybe your goal is stretching every dollar as far as possible so you can spend more on excursions. Or maybe you just want the smoothest ride, the shortest walks, and the least amount of hassle. Because the cabin that's perfect for one of those people can be completely wrong for another. That's exactly why choosing an Alaska cabin is a lot more complicated than most people realize. The first place those differences start to show up is the cabin type. Every type of cabin comes with trade-offs. Alaska just happens to be one of the places where you notice those trade-offs the most. Interior cabins are the cheapest option, which means more money for whale watching, helicopter tours, or a better itinerary. But the trade-off is that every time the scenery gets incredible, you'll have to leave your cabin to see it. Ocean view cabins give you natural light and a window to Alaska without paying balcony prices. But the trade-off here is that you're paying for the scenery while giving up the very thing most people love most about a balcony: stepping outside and experiencing Alaska without ever leaving your room. And balconies are the most popular choice for Alaska because they give you your own private front row seat to Alaska's greatest show. But they come at a much bigger premium than they do in other regions, and on some sailings they can cost nearly twice as much as an ocean view cabin. So the question is whether you'll use it enough to justify the cost. And then there are suites that give you more space, more comfort, and in some cases access to amenities and areas of the ship that you simply won't have if you're not staying in the suite. But the question is whether you'll use those benefits enough to justify what can be a significant premium in Alaska. The important thing to understand is that every cabin type changes how you experience Alaska. And the question isn't which one is best, it's which experience will be best for you. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, Evan, so should I get the balcony, the ocean view, and interior cabin, or should we splurge for a suite? Or does any of this even matter because I'm already exhausted and we haven't even booked our cruise yet? Well, now you're starting to understand why we use Cruises It. Because eventually everybody reaches the point where they need a little help sorting through all the options. Even my buddy Frank called me the other day and said, Evan, I finally did it. I finally used a travel agent. And I flat out asked him, Frank, are you okay? But he wasn't done bragging just yet, as he went on to tell me, Evan, they actually talked me out of spending more money. Can you believe that? And I just told him, Frank, I never thought I'd live to see the day. But honestly, that's the whole reason we use Cruises It. A good travel agent isn't there to sell you the most expensive cruise. They're there to help you avoid spending money on the wrong one. Whether that's finding a better cabin, a better itinerary, a better sailing date, or sometimes even telling you not to spend the extra money at all. And over the years, Cruises It has helped us save thousands, avoid some expensive mistakes, and they've always made sure we're getting the best value for our travel budget. And with their low price guarantee, you can book knowing you're never overpaying for your cruise. So if you're planning a cruise, or even if you've already booked one in the past 30 days and simply want someone in your corner to answer questions and take the stress out of travel, all while automatically watching for price drops and locking in lower prices when they become available, just click the link in the description below or call the number on the screen and tell them Evan from Family at Sea sent you. You'll be glad you did. Once you've decided what type of cabin you want, the next question is where on the ship you want it. Lower decks are usually the best choice for anyone that's worried about motion sickness, especially if you're sailing round trip from Seattle where rougher seas are more common. The trade-off is that you're often farther away from the outdoor decks and public viewing areas where many people spend their time on scenic cruising days. Upper decks put you closer to those spaces, making it easier to grab your camera and get outside when someone spots a whale or the ship approaches a glacier. But the downside is that you'll typically feel more motion and may have more noise coming from the public areas above you. And the middle decks are often the compromise. You're usually close enough to the action without being directly on top of it or below it, and low enough to reduce some of the ship movement. And for most Alaska cruisers, deck level isn't about getting a better cabin. It's about deciding whether you value convenience, stability, or quick access to the views you'll spend all week chasing. The next thing to think about is where your cabin sits from front to back of the ship. Forward cabins can offer incredible views as the ship sails into glaciers, fjords, or some of Alaska's most scenic areas. The trade-off is that you'll usually feel more motion, especially if you're sailing round trip from Seattle. And if you've booked a forward-facing balcony, expect a lot more wind whenever you're underway, which can make it harder to enjoy than most people imagine when they book things. Aft cabins are the opposite. Many cruisers love them because of the wake views and the larger balconies you'll find on some ships. They're also a great place to watch Alaska slowly disappear behind you. And they're generally more protected from the wind than forward balconies, so they can sometimes be more comfortable to use on chilly Alaska days. The downside is that they can mean more motion, a lot more walking, and on some ships, a bit more vibration from the engines below. And then there's midship, which is typically the safest choice as you'll typically experience less motion, shorter walks, and fewer surprises. And while there isn't one perfect location for every Alaska cruiser, this is one of those decisions where being honest about how you actually travel matters a lot more than chasing the best cabin on a deck plan. The last cabin location decision is whether you want to be on the port or starboard side of the ship. If you're sailing a round-trip itinerary from Seattle or Vancouver, I honestly wouldn't spend too much time worrying about it. One side gets the views on the way north, and the other side gets them on the way south, and over the course of the cruise, it tends to balance out. But one-way itineraries are a bit different. Because you're only traveling in one direction, one side of the ship will generally spend more time facing the coastline while the other spends more time facing open water. Now that doesn't mean the opposite won't have great views, but if maximizing scenery from your cabin is important to you, this is one of the few times where ship side can actually matter. Just don't let it outweigh everything else we've already talked about. I'd rather have the right cabin type and right location on the wrong side of the ship than the wrong cabin on the right side. If you're considering an obstructed balcony cabin, make sure you know exactly what kind of obstruction you're getting. Because some obstructed balconies are only partially blocked and still offer excellent views of Alaska, but others are so heavily obstructed that you'll spend most of the cruise staring at a lifeboat instead of a glacier. And that's a particularly expensive mistake in Alaska because you're paying a steep premium for a cabin designed around the view. So before you book one, look up photos, videos, and reviews of the exact cabin, and if you can't find them, don't risk it, because there's a huge difference between a balcony that's slightly obstructed and one where the obstruction becomes the view. One final thing to think about is whether you're booking a specific cabin or rolling the dice with a guaranteed cabin. And whether you're letting the cruise line pick your cabin or choosing one yourself, this is where location starts to matter. Whenever possible, look for a cabin with other cabins above, below, and on both sides of it, as it's the safest way to avoid unwanted noise from pools, buffets, and other busy public areas. But that doesn't mean you want to be far away from everything. In Alaska, many people spend a lot of time heading to observation areas, outdoor viewing decks, coffee shops, and lounges to watch the scenery. Being a short walk from those spaces can be incredibly convenient, but being directly underneath them can be a different story. So whether you choose a guaranteed cabin or pick your own, cabin location can have a bigger impact on your Alaska experience than most people realize. So if you're still trying to sort all of this out, here's the simplest way I'd think about it. Don't start by asking what's the best cabin, start by asking what am I going to regret more. If you'd regret spending balcony money on a cabin you barely use, book the interior and put that money toward Alaska itself. If you'd regret missing those quiet moments where the mountains, whales, and glaciers show up while everyone else is still finding their jacket, then the balcony starts to make a lot more sense. And while suites are incredible on a lot of cruises, Alaska is one of the few places where I'm not convinced they're worth a premium. Alaska is all about the itinerary and long port days, and you're going to spend less time on the ship than you usually would, so I think that money is better spent on Alaska itself. But if you put me on the spot and ask what I'd personally book, I'd take an aft-facing balcony. The views behind the ship are incredible. The balconies are often larger and more protected from the wind, and there's just something special about watching Alaska slowly disappear into the distance with nearly 180 degrees of scenery stretched out in front of you. Is it perfect? No. I'll walk farther to get to the public areas of the ship, and I might deal with a little more vibration. But for the way I like to experience Alaska, that's a trade-off I'd make every single time. But here's the bad news. Even if you pick the perfect cabin, there's another decision that can have an even bigger impact on your Alaska cruise. Because the route you choose determines the glaciers you'll see, the ports you'll visit, how much scenic cruising you'll get, and in some cases, whether you experience the Alaska you've been dreaming about at all. But the good news, in this next video, I'm breaking down exactly how to choose the right Alaska cruise route and the trade-offs that come with each option. I'll see you over there. If you're ready, I am. Let's go.